Hi, my name is Josh Mintel. I work at Moe's Outdoor Equipment Supplies in Springboro, Ohio. Today we're going to talk about chainsaw maintenance. Basically, with the wet, sunny season we're having here lately, our chainsaws are going to see a lot of use. There's some certain items you want to do when using your chainsaw throughout the year. Biggest problem we deal with in this industry is fuel-related issues. Basically, if we leave fuel in an item, it can clog up or gum up the carburetor and break down the rubber pieces inside that carburetor. So what we want to do is make sure when we're not using the machine, it's stored properly. That's probably one of the most important things to do with the chainsaw. There's two options. You can use a product called Motomix, which is pre-mixed fuel in a can that doesn't have any ethanol in it, or you can run the machine dry. So once we get past that, the fuel issue, next important thing on maintenance is you want to keep your air filter clean. Normally on the Stihl chainsaws, the air cleaner is going to be under this back shroud. About once a year, you should normally replace your air filter, spark plug, and your fuel filter. Stihl carries a maintenance kit, normally for every product they sell. It's a great kit. It's about $15, plus or minus a couple dollars, but it's a great investment to keep your machine running each year. The last thing we're going to talk about on your chainsaw is going to be your blade. Basically different types of woods, if the wood's dry rotted, if it's alive, can determine how long your chain stays sharp. But the one thing we do know, or most people should know, is if your chain hits dirt, it gets dull immediately. So normally I urge people to have an extra chain on hand, and then if they are cutting dead or dry wood, or wood that's been in the dirt, to also have an extra chain on hand. When you do need to sharpen your chain, you can normally, if you're out in the field, use a file. That's going to get you through the day probably, but when you get back, you probably want to either sharpen it or have it sharpened professionally at your local service shop. Along with your chainsaw probably getting a lot of use, your trimmer is probably going to get much more use. A good key to keeping this unit serviced throughout the season is going to be, once again, the fuel issue. When you use it regularly, you can use your normal gas, mix it with two-cycle product, and use that throughout the year. When you want to put the unit away, you want to make sure you run it completely dry, or use a product like Motomix, which is a pre-mixed fuel, which doesn't have any ethanol in it. One thing you are going to want to do on your trimmer once a year is you're going to want to change your air filter, spark plug, and your fuel filter. You're also going to want to grease the head of the unit, which can basically, over time, the grease can be depleted from the head. So about a couple times a year, you want to grease the head of the unit. Stihl does make a grease that fits right into a grease fitting, and you just squirt it right into the head. Again, my name is Josh Mintel. If you have any questions, you can reach us on Facebook, or you can reach us at buyatmoes.com. Thank you and have a great day.